Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 55 in the book of John. We're going to ask a question today about who should we be judging. So in John, Jesus does some hard teaching. He basically calls evil evil. And of course, nobody wants to hear that their own works are evil. So the people respond relatively poorly to hearing such news about themselves. So rather than championing Jesus as this amazing truth teller and someone that's revealing truth, they oppose him and they respond with hate to someone who's telling them the truth. So ironically, they're more mad at Jesus for telling them that they're evil than they are for being evil. So that is to say that you mean to tell me that you telling me that I am evil is viewed as a greater crime than actually being evil. So we'll see some good responses to Jesus here today in today's story too. But the point is, it's all over the map. And some of it's accurate and some of it's not. Now, everybody gets to believe what they wish, but only one reality is true. So the question is does your belief system match up with the reality? So the charge is about judgment, which is kind of our theme today, is let's get our judgment correct internally of him, make it accurate of who he actually is, and then our judgment externally as well. So whether you in particular believe in Jesus doesn't change the reality of who he is. So today we're going to watch these responses that various people have. So Jesus has gone to a celebration in Jerusalem that's called the Feast of Booths, and many are looking for him, and some are making conclusions about him, and people are talking about him. And he's definitely stirred the pot by saying your works are evil. So Jesus creates quite a stir, and people are saying, well, some people say he's a good man, or some people say he's led his people astray. Some people say that they're marveling at him. Some are questioning his authority. So the point today at the end is going to say, judge with right judgment. Look beyond the appearance and judge with right judgment. So this is from John chapter 7, verse 16. Jesus answered them, my teaching is not mine, but his who sent me. If anyone's will is to do God's will, he will know whether the teaching is from God or whether I'm speaking on my own authority. The one who speaks on his own authority seeks his own glory, but the one who seeks the glory of him who sent him is true, and in him there's no falsehood. Has not Moses given you the law? Yet none of you keeps the law. Why do you seek to kill me? Some people's response is to kill Jesus. The crowd answered, you have a demon. Who is seeking to kill you? Jesus answered them, I did one work and you all marvel at it. Moses gave you circumcision, not that it is from Moses, but from the Father. And you circumcise a man on the Sabbath. If on the Sabbath a man receives circumcision, so that the law of Moses may not be broken, are you angry with me because on the Sabbath I made a man's whole body well? And then here's the big verse for today, verse 24, 7:24. Do not judge by appearances, but judge with right judgment. So some people are responding to Jesus with admiration. They say, hey, you've never studied, to be a rabbi, and yet you have this ability of teaching. Some are marveling at the signs, appropriately so. Some are saying, hey, he's a good man. But everybody is kind of surprised and even offended at the audacity when he says your ways are evil and that none of you keeps the law. He's making these very broad and true pronouncements. And then he asks, some people say, on whose authority do you speak? And then some people are now responding with an anger edge. So he has this wonderful Sabbath healing where he heals this person, and yet you are angry because on the Sabbath I have healed somebody. And then they accuse him to say, you have a demon, and you are leading people astray, and we're going to kill you. So as you can see, everybody is all over the map. They're all making judgments. The point here is that everybody needs to be careful and get our assessments correct. So let's judge rightly, and it will be worth it if we do. So the big point is Jesus has come down with truth into our world. And what am I going to do with it? Well, first of all, we got to hear it. We have to consider it. I would challenge you, hey, join me on the days of this year. Come back tomorrow. Share this podcast with your curious family and friends. What could be better than the book of John? It's not that Jesus doesn't invite inspection of himself, an interrogation of the text. In fact, he invites it, but he says, do it correctly, judge with right judgment. And so how do we do that? Well, we start with ourselves. So before we judge others, which is so much fun to do, judge ourselves, who we are we sinners? And then judge him correctly. Who is the Lord? Let's do it rightly and accurately. He invites a little bit of wrestling. Jesus says, hey, you're evil, and you want to kill him? That's not the right response. You want to kill your rescuer? You want to kill Jesus? He would actually means that he rescues? He invites that you come, examine his claim, because he's going to say other claims. He's going to say things like, I love you. There's all kinds of stuff here that we need to put ourselves before Jesus. And then we got to respond correctly. So discipline your emotions. So hold off, Mr. Anger. Hold off, Mr. Killer. So when he says something unpalatable, or something unpalatable is exposed, usually that's in me. Let's say in the text today, I'm evil. Well, anger and killing, no. Let's hold on. How about grief? There are appropriate ways to respond to the things that Jesus have said here, besides, trying to kill him. Let the reality strike you and slay us. So here's my prayer for this next year. May our exposure to Jesus be frequent. May our thoughts be accurate in judgment. Let's judge with right judgment as he invites us, not of others. Eventually we'll do that, but of ourselves first. That's what he's really asking today. And I don't see a whole lot of grief in the passage today, but let our grief for this next year, let that be real. May our admiration of the things that Jesus has done be appropriate. May our respect for your teachings be boundless. And may what is said of him by my lips be true. May our response to your authenticness via signs let it be awe for us. May we be humble as we hear the audacity of the statements that you have made. May I be more in love with the word and your people for this year. So let's judge ourselves first. Let's judge him right off the bat. Let's do that rightly. We'll have time for judging others later. Thanks for listening.